Have you ever wondered what true strength really looks like? It's not about being loud, brash, or aggressive. True power lies in something much deeper. In fact, the strongest people you'll ever meet are often the quietest. They don't react to life. They choose how to respond. Want to know the secret? Imagine walking into any room with absolute clarity, no noise in your mind, no rush in your step. What if I told you that this calm, powerful stillness is the real key to becoming unstoppable? It's not about moving faster, it's about mastering the art of being still. Let's dive into what true inner strength really means. What if everything you've been told about success was wrong? What if the key to unlocking your full potential isn't more motivation or more information, but a deep sense of control within yourself? Stick with me because we're about to explore the truth about real strength and how to find it. Real strength doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention or force its way into existence. No, true power radiates quietly, drawing from something far deeper than the external world. It emerges from presence, clarity, and an inner command that guides your every move. If you truly want to think sharper, move with purpose, and become a force to be reckoned with, not through aggression, but through pure awareness, you must stop chasing what's on the outside and begin studying what's within. Most people spend their entire lives reacting to pressure, to people, to fear. They move fast, talk faster, and think the least. But beneath all that noise, there's something they've never truly touched: stillness. And I'm not talking about laziness or simply doing nothing. I'm talking about deep, focused, and powerful stillness. The kind that clears your mind, sharpens your judgment, and changes how you walk through life. The truth is, you don't need more motivation. You don't need more information. What you need is discipline, mental discipline. But not the kind that comes from forcing yourself to grind through endless tasks. It's the kind of discipline that comes from self-mastery. Because real strength isn't about controlling everything around you. It's about mastering what's happening within you. We live in a world that celebrates speed. Move fast, speak up, stay ahead. That's the mantra ingrained in us from a young age. If you pause, you fall behind. If you wait, you lose. So we race through our days, filling every gap with tasks, noise, and constant activity. But what if the power you're chasing doesn't come from moving faster? What if it comes from learning to be still? Because silence is not weakness. Psychologist Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." This perfectly sums up the essence of stillness. It's not about escaping the world. It's about learning to pause and look within. Stillness is a doorway, not a destination. When you learn to stop, even if just for a brief moment, you stop being dragged by your automatic reactions and start walking with a clear direction. But let's be clear, this isn't about running away from life. You don't need to retreat to a forest or meditate for hours on a mountaintop. You don't have to delete every distraction or live in total silence. It's about 5 minutes, just 5. Sit down, close your eyes, breathe. That's it. No music, no scrolling, just you and the quiet. Part of your mind that rarely gets a chance to speak. The part that's calm, wise, and still. This simple act changes everything. Your nervous system calms, and your thoughts stop rushing like a river after the rain. In that stillness, you begin to observe instead of react. And once the observation kicks in, so does clarity. You start noticing what's actually important and what's just noise, desperately wearing urgency as a disguise. Think about the people who exude real presence, the ones who speak with calm authority, who don't get flustered, who seem to know exactly when to act and when to hold still. That's not talent. That's not luck. That's training. They've built the habit of silence before action. They've developed the mental discipline to pause. And that pause, that's where wisdom lives. As the philosopher Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This means being okay with silence even if it makes others uncomfortable. It means resisting the urge to rush and fill every quiet moment with noise just to prove you're engaged or important. Try this today. Give yourself 5 minutes of stillness. Let whatever thoughts come, come. Let whatever emotions rise, rise. Don't fight them, don't analyze them, just observe them. It's not about doing nothing, it's about doing nothing on purpose. And in that simple act, you begin to understand something deeper. Your mind doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. The fastest decisions aren't always the wisest. The loudest voice isn't always the strongest. The world will keep spinning, whether you rush or not. But when you choose stillness, even for a moment, you stop being pushed around by everything and start becoming the one who decides when and how to move. That's not just peace, that's strategy. That's Stoic wisdom in action. Ever walked into a conversation, said something without thinking, and then spent the rest of the day or even longer replaying it in your head, wondering why you snapped, why you blurted it out, why you didn't pause, breathe, and handle it differently? That moment where your mouth moved before your mind caught up isn't instinct. It's conditioning. It's a loop your brain learned long ago and has been playing on repeat ever since. For most people, that loop runs constantly in the background. No pause, no filter, just reaction after reaction. This is what we call autopilot. You wake up, check your phone, see a message that annoys you. Then you check the news, feel stressed, someone cuts you off in traffic, and you react again. One after another, without space, without thought, without awareness. It's fast, but it's not necessarily effective. What if you could break that loop? What if you could learn to pause just for a moment and choose how to respond instead of reacting on impulse? That's where true strength lies. As we discussed earlier, stillness is not just a moment of silence. It's about awareness. It's about mastering not only the external reactions, but also the emotions and thoughts within us. To achieve this, you need to pause, take a moment of quiet to observe yourself and the world around you. Sometimes we live in an automatic world. These responses and actions, seemingly normal, are simply habits, not necessarily helpful. We often confuse speed with clarity, but speed without reflection, that's just chaos with better branding. The Stoics understood this centuries before we had phones, inboxes, or algorithms pulling at our attention. They knew that the real danger wasn't the world outside, it was the storm inside. Seneca said, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." This means we're not just reacting to reality, but reacting to imagined scenarios, imagined judgments, anticipated threats. We jump into emotional responses to things that haven't even happened or might never happen. So what's the way out of that cycle? It's not shutting yourself off from the world. It's not becoming emotionless or cold. It's awareness, pure and simple. And it's something you build, not by escaping life, but by stepping fully into it with your eyes wide open. Awareness means noticing the story you're telling yourself before it becomes your truth. It's catching the tension in your chest before it turns into an argument. It's feeling the heat rise in your face and deciding, not this time, I'm not reacting to that. Think of your mind like a lake. Most people's minds are constantly disturbed, rippled by every minor annoyance, every comment, every glance, every news update. The surface never settles. And when it's murky, you can't see anything clearly. But when you stop stirring it with constant reactions, the water begins to settle. And in that stillness, you begin to see not only what's around you, but also what's been running inside you all along. Carl Jung said it perfectly. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That quote hits deep because most people don't realize they're being pulled by hidden beliefs, by emotional patterns they never chose, by scripts handed to them by the past. Awareness pulls all of that into the light. It doesn't erase the emotion, but it gives you a choice, a gap. And in that gap, you find freedom. This is where mental discipline begins, not in suppressing what you feel, but in slowing down what you do with what you feel. It's not weakness to pause. It's not hesitation to wait. It's strength. Quiet strength, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything because it already knows who's in charge. Try it the next time you're triggered. When someone challenges you, mocks you, criticizes you, or simply catches you on a bad day, pause. Count to 3. Don't rush to fill the silence. Let your emotion rise, sure, but don't ride it blindly. Watch it, study it. Let your awareness catch up to your reaction. That pause rewires everything. It tells your brain, we're not doing this the old way anymore. And every time you respond instead of react, you reinforce a new path. A path of presence, a path of control. A path that belongs to you, not to your habits, not to your triggers, and definitely not to the people trying to throw you off course. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And that one sentence sums up an entire way of life. Because the truth is, you can't always control what comes at you, but you can always choose how you meet it. In a world that constantly tries to push your buttons, will you choose stillness, or will you let yourself be swept away by the storm? Continuing from where we left off, mastering the art of awareness is not just about noticing the world around you. It's about recognizing the deeper currents within yourself. Awareness is not a passive state. It's a quiet, powerful tool, one that can transform how you experience life. At every turn, choosing how you respond is a quiet form of power. It's a power that can't be taken, it can only be given. So, don't give it away so easily. Own your pause, train your awareness, and lead your life. Don't just react to it. That's not hesitation. That's mastery. Stoic, steady, earned mastery. Some people walk into a room and instantly sense everything without a word being spoken. The moment they step in, they know if something's off. They can read it in the air, the slight shift in someone's posture, the forced laugh, the way eyes avoid contact. They don't need explanations or analysis. They simply know. It's not magic and it's not instinct, it's awareness. And it's one of the sharpest tools a human being can develop. But it's also one of the most overlooked, because in a world obsessed with speaking louder, acting faster, and constantly doing, we rarely get taught how to observe. Real observation is more than just seeing. It's noticing. It's being tuned in. Most people aren't. They live in reaction mode, always responding to the next notification, the next demand, the next emotion. They see what's on the surface and assume that's the whole story. But awareness, that digs deeper. It asks you to slow down, strip away distractions, and see what's actually there. In Stoic practice, this kind of perception, both of the world and of the self, is everything. The Stoics believed that clarity came before action. They believed you should never move unless you understand what you're responding to. Epictetus said it best. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Think about that for a moment. It's not usually the thing itself that causes us stress, it's our interpretation of it, the mental narrative, the assumption, the fear. That's where awareness becomes powerful, because awareness doesn't fix the world. It fixes your lens. But don't get it twisted. Awareness isn't passive. It's not sitting in a corner being zen while the world rushes by. It's a deliberate practice, it's active. It listens deeply, watches carefully, notices constantly. It's like tuning into a signal that most people can't hear because they're too busy blasting their own. But when you tap into that signal, everything slows down. You see the micro delays in someone's answer. You feel the energy shift in a room. You notice when you start to close up, get defensive, or lose energy. These aren't minor details. They're data. Building on the deep awareness of the world around us, it's crucial to understand that observation is not just about looking. It's about sensing, listening, and especially understanding before taking action. And you might not even realize it. But once you truly see a pattern, you can't unsee it. It becomes a part of your awareness, and that awareness starts to change how you move. But there's a trap. Many people confuse observation with judgment. They begin noticing things and immediately label them. Good, bad, weak, strong, but true. Awareness isn't rushed. It doesn't jump to conclusions. It waits, observes, and holds the tension of not knowing, of uncertainty, of complexity, until the picture becomes clear. That's what gives it power. It's not a reaction, it's a posture. And this doesn't require hours of meditation or a total lifestyle change. Start small. One day, speak less, observe more. Don't rush to respond. Don't interrupt. Endure. Discomfort with distractions. Watch your body. Notice how people respond to your energy. Listen, not just with your ears, but with your attention. How does the room feel when someone enters? How does your mood shift throughout the day? These tiny observations, repeated daily, gradually build into something that most people never develop: presence. Presence isn't just about confidence, it's about clarity. People who are truly present see more, feel more, understand more. They're not lost in assumptions. They're tuned in. And the more you train this, the more powerful your perception becomes. Most people miss what matters. They miss the subtle warning signs in relationships. They miss the physical signs of stress in their body. They miss the chance to adjust before they crash. But not you, if you train for it. Because when you begin observing more than reacting, you start to understand the game before it's played. You begin to feel truth before it's spoken. That's not overthinking, that's mastery. And that mastery is built slowly through consistent awareness. Awareness is the foundation of real wisdom. The Stoics weren't just thinkers, they were watchers, quiet, steady, unshaken, not because the world didn't challenge them, but because they had trained themselves to see clearly before acting. So today, start with this. Less speaking, more watching. Don't just look, see, don't just hear, listen. Awareness is your edge, sharpen it daily. There's a reason athletes, soldiers, and monks all train their breath. It's not just about oxygen, it's about control. Quiet, internal control, the kind you carry inside you when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. When the situation is loud, intense, and unpredictable, your breath stays with you, always available, always accessible. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't depend on mood or motivation. All it needs is your attention. But here's the strange part. We're raised to monitor everything except our breath. We're taught how to walk, how to talk, how to behave, how to dress, how to shape our personalities. But breathing, that's treated like background noise, something your body just does. And yes, it happens automatically, but that's exactly why it holds so much untapped power. Your breath is one of the few things in life that's both involuntary and voluntary. You breathe without thinking, yes, but you can also choose to slow it, deepen it, shape it. That's what makes it a bridge, a connector between your conscious and unconscious. As we continue exploring how awareness shapes our lives, it's time to dive deeper into a practice that can revolutionize how we handle stress and chaos. Breathing. For it's something we often overlook, yet it holds the key to mastering not just our minds but our entire being. You breathe without thinking, yes, but here's the thing. You can also choose to slow it, deepen it, and shape it. That's what makes your breath a bridge, a connector between your conscious mind and your feeling body, between the chaos outside and the calm inside. It's not just a survival mechanism, it's a tool, it's a compass, a steering wheel. In Stoic philosophy, mastery over the self was the highest pursuit, not because it looks impressive on paper, but because in a world full of noise, unpredictability and pain, it's the only real freedom. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." But let's be honest, you can't reach that kind of peace if your breath is trapped in your chest, shallow and tight. You can't be mentally steady when your body is stuck in fight or flight. A restless breath is a restless soul. It's a mirror. Think about the last time everything spiraled out of control. You were overwhelmed, anxious, or maybe even angry. Perhaps you snapped during a conversation, or your mind went blank under pressure. Go back to that moment. What was your breath doing? Chances are it had disappeared, short, fast, almost invisible. That's not weakness, that's your nervous system doing its job. But here's the insight most people miss. If your body can lead your mind into chaos, your body can also lead your mind out of it. That's the power of breath. It works both ways. And this isn't just philosophy, it's biology. When you slow your breath, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which handles rest, digestion, healing, and mental clarity. A longer exhale sends a message to the brain, we're okay, we're not in danger. And the brain listens. It stops dumping cortisol into your bloodstream. Your heart rate slows, your muscles relax, and your focus sharpens. You become steady, not because the situation changed, but because you changed. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." While he spoke about deep psychological transformation, this principle starts small, with your breath. You don't have to wait for a life crisis to begin. Every time you consciously breathe, you're doing something most people avoid. You're facing your state. You're feeling your body. You're choosing presence over panic. And in that simple act, you start reclaiming authority over your own system. Let's not overcomplicate this. 1 minute, that's all. Breathe in for 4 counts, out for 6. No apps, no fancy techniques, just awareness. When you feel overwhelmed, when your thoughts race, when your shoulders tense up, that's the signal. Come back to the breath, not with force, but with intention. Let it slow you down. Let it clear space. Let it anchor you, because this isn't about pretending stress doesn't exist. It's about meeting it with better tools. And breath, it's the first tool, the foundation, the reset switch. Most people never reach for it. But once you train it, truly train it, it becomes something far more powerful than a coping mechanism. It becomes your baseline, your calm, your shield in the storm. The Stoics didn't break down breath in terms of neuroscience, but they didn't need to. They practiced what we're just beginning to understand. That you can't lead your mind if your body is under siege. And the breath, that quiet rhythm you've been ignoring, is how you take back the lead. Returning to our journey of awareness, we've just explored the power of breath in mastering both body and mind. But there's another crucial factor at play: the voice inside your head. It's a constant companion, always commenting on your life, your past, and your future. But is it truly you? Let's dive into this further. There's a voice inside your head, always busy, always familiar. It's there when you wake up, when you're trying to sleep, when you're walking down the street, or sitting in silence. It comments on everything. What you should have done differently. What could go wrong next? What that person really meant when they said what they said. It overanalyzes your past and tries to predict your future, always doubting, criticizing, and whispering worst-case scenarios, as though it's trying to help. And here's the wild part. Most people never stop to question it. They assume that voice is them, but here's the truth. Just because a thought appears in your mind doesn't mean it's true, and it definitely doesn't mean it belongs to you. That voice can be a mix of old stories, inherited fears, societal programming, and emotional echoes. Some of it comes from childhood, some from the culture we grew up in, and some are just loops we've heard so often from so many places that our brains stored them on repeat. You didn't create them. You just absorb them. Carl Jung captured this perfectly when he said, "People don't have ideas, ideas have people." That's what makes unexamined thoughts so dangerous. They can drive your choices, shape your identity, and control your emotions without you even realizing it. You'll follow the script in your head and call it reality, but in truth, you're just reacting to noise. This is where Stoicism becomes practical, not just philosophical. The Stoics didn't try to kill their thoughts or pretend to be emotionless robots. What they did was pause, examine, and observe without attachment. They understood that a thought is only as powerful as the belief you give it. That's why Epictetus taught that it's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. You may not be able to stop your first thought, especially if it's automatic, emotional, or wired from past pain. But you can control what happens after it. That's the gap, the sacred space between stimulus and response. And it's in that space where your real power begins. Picture yourself in a thunderstorm. If you're standing right in the middle of it, you're soaked, disoriented, maybe even panicking. But step back a few feet, watch it from a window, or better yet from a calm hill in the distance, and it becomes something else entirely. It's not you anymore, it's just weather. It'll pass. And that's what happens when you stop identifying with every single thought. You move from being inside the storm to being the one watching it. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. But the modern mind forgets this. It thinks every emotion must be acted on, every thought must be believed, and every judgment must be true. But that's how people lose themselves. They follow every mental impulse and call it being real. But what's real is this: you are not the thought. You are the one witnessing it. So the next time your mind says, "I'm not ready," or "I can't handle this," or "What if it all goes wrong?" don't push back, don't panic, just ask a simple question. Is this fear or is this fact? That single pause can break a loop that's been running for years. And in that moment, your higher self, the part that's calm, aware, and stable, can step forward. Earlier, we explored the power of the mind and how our thoughts shape our reality. Now let's delve into how we can start taking control of those thoughts and stop living in reaction mode. Your attention is precious and it deserves to be fully focused. But here's the thing, not every mental reaction is a command. Most of them are just background noise. Seneca put it simply, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Once you grasp that truth clearly, everything starts to change. You stop living in defense mode, constantly reacting to everything around you. You stop jumping at shadows, letting unverified thoughts dictate who you are and how you respond. But don't mistake this for ignoring your mind. It's not about turning a blind eye to your thoughts. It's about guiding them. It's about staying awake, aware, and observing with quiet authority. Picture a parent watching their child throw a tantrum. They remain steady, calm, and composed. They don't yell, panic, or run away. They just observe and choose their response from a place of power. That's the beauty of detachment. Here it's not coldness, it's presence. It's choosing not to become every thought that passes through you. And here's the remarkable part. The more you practice this, the more peaceful your inner world becomes, even when the outer world feels chaotic. When you remain grounded, still, and steady, your thoughts no longer control you. They're just passing clouds. In this world that constantly pulls you in every direction, your greatest power will always be your ability to return to yourself, calm, present, and unshaken. It's discipline, it's awareness, and it's the freedom to choose your response. Even when everything around you is in turmoil, you can still find that stillness within. If you're ready to dive deeper into this path, one of the videos on your screen will guide you further. Thank you for joining us on this life through Stoicism. The path may be quiet, but those who walk it tend to return, finding a deep sense of peace with each step.